Okay, guys, so it's almost 5 p.m. I remember when I was young, 5 p.m. on Thursday especially was a kind of the special moment for me because there was one TV series in 80s and 90s which I was fan of. It was Sonda. English name, it will be probably Probe. It was led by two individuals who were talking about the technology. And I feel today pretty the same because I'm going to tell you about something which we would like to discuss in the kind of a little bit lightweight to give you the better understanding, but it's also something which is like a preview of what is coming and with some explanations where it may come and what does it mean in generally. So let me start from the couple of the things you were probably heard today a lot. It was about all AI. So AI is transforming IT, AI is transforming businesses, everything is AI, and we are kind of dictated by the progressing AI capabilities and the progressing AI development. Second, AI will lead to the transformation of the market, right? To changing the jobs, need for the reskilling of the people, for many other things related how we behave, what we do, how we do, etc. First, we know also, and I believe that it sounded strong, that generative AI is not going to replace the people, but people who do not use the AI will be replaced by those who use AI. And that's the fact, and everybody should have that on the top of the head. But as you know, AI is everywhere. From my perspective, AI is boring already. Everyone has it, or if it's not visible, it is behind under the hood, and it is. So that's the kind of the topic which is already happening, and we are just adopting. So from the technologist perspective and the person who arrived R&D department for one of the, I would say, lead companies in that space, it's really boring. So if not artificial intelligence, then what? And I'm going to tell you a little bit about the statement which is here, that we entered already the quantum era. For you, maybe it sounds like science fiction at the moment, but I will try to do my best to actually persuade that it is the fact. So let me start for those who are not very familiar with the technology. What is the quantum computer? Okay, so let's first start from the fact that it is not the kind of the very new technology. The quantum computing was actually discovered in 1981. So that's only about 50 years from now. But what is important about that the progression which happened. So now, what is the quantum computer? You know the computers which are operating using the bits. It's 0, either 1. And based on those, the processors can actually translate and calculate the values, do the processing, 0 and 1. That's what we know. What's the quantum? Quantum is 1, 0, or at the same state, 0 and 1. I'm not going to go to the details because it's too heavy, and I'm not the quantum physics to explain that well, but that opportunity together with that behavior and the opportunity to use this behavior together with something which is called tangling of the qubits, because qubits are the equivalents of bits in standard computing, could actually give enormous capabilities related to the capacity and to the speed of calculations. Let me just tell you that if we consider mathematical equation and we ask the standard computer to make that equation, computer translates every operation into 0 and 1s and do sequentially the calculation to return the result. And in very brief shortcut, what does quantum computer is, he looks at the entry points, inputs, look at them, and tells the result. That's as simple as that. He predict the result because he knows the result just seeing the data. And it's very important because these capabilities are enormous in the way how difficult calculations could be done. Let me just tell you that in 2 years from now, I promise you, and probably Steve will cover that a little bit later, why it is important. In 2 years from now, the latest, the RSA 256, which is the highest possible encryption methodology used by most of the systems, most of the passwords, most of the access rights, etc., will be useless. Because with the simple brute force algorithm, quantum computer could actually break it pretty easily within a couple of hours. So that's the potential. Now, about the progress, I told you that the latest years are the huge progression of the technology. You can imagine, 2010, that's the prototype of 1 qubit. That prototype was actually the source of the further invention, because it behaved really like a quantum. It could be at state 0, 1 on both together, depending on the time it is measured. Now we've got, I put 2020 here because it's just a decade to see how the quantum processor looks at the moment. And below you see the different evaluations of those quantum computers, and they are real. That's the newest one, which has 1121 qubits. I will tell about the numbers a little bit later, just to give you the more insight. And that's 2020, end of 2023 invention. This is the first laboratory where the quantum computers were built, and these tubes you see, these are the real quantum computers. They look like that. And they look like that because the kind of the, I would say, quantum main board is pretty small, but we can just achieve this physical phenomenon like quantum computing in the temperature which is close to absolute zero. And the temperature in the tubes is 0.0001 Kelvin. It's colder than in space. And that's the condition which needs to be fulfilled to actually make this qubits working and be useful. That's the physical quantum computer commercial version, which exists today in number of the companies, universities. The closest to us in Poland is the one which is actually installed in Germany, in Fraunhofer Institute. It has around 3 years from now, 3 years old. Yep. This is another version of the quantum processor, and I will tell a little bit more in description how it works and why it is important, but it has only 133 qubits. Means it's nearly 10 times less qubit capable than the previous one I showed you. But this one is actually the core of the Quantum 2, the model and the machine which was built beginning of that year, and the closest one is installed in Europe, of course, unfortunately again in Germany, and could be, of course, used by the network. Now, what could be run on quantum? Applications, but applications run in a different way. We will never interact with the quantum computers like we interact with the regular computers. That would be only the kind of the core machine and the assisting machines around that system, which actually have this user interface, and the quantum will just execute the batch calculations. You produce the batch, what it should be done, you put it to the quantum and you get the result, and you can translate that result into the human understandable values later on. So this is the difference, but this application actually would cover, I would say, pretty big number of the different aspects, like quantum, simulating other quantum systems and using that for the physics, artificial intelligence, optimization. And if we look at the different industries which could benefit from that, you see the variety of this coming from, I would say, 3 major areas, like simulating the nature. That's the, I would say, biggest hope for us when we're using the quantum. Mathematics and physics, which could help with resolving unresolved problems, because we still got a number of such problems at the moment. And search and optimization, another one big thing. And as you can see on the different areas, from aerospace up to the health and the life science, there are a number of the industries and areas in this space which actually are not capable to produce what we would like to see produced because of the limitations of the current computers. And if we look at the different problems we would like to resolve and are still kind of the something which does not allow sleep, number of the people around the world and the scientists and the big companies who would like to make life better, you see like a huge array of different cases and the different very particular areas. And when we look at the quantum, actually quantum is pretty applicable to majority of them. So all these industries, all these algorithms, all the applications which are run on the systems within those areas could benefit from quantum computing. In IBM, we have a very strong partnership with the companies and the universities and generally the community, which we work on for the years already on quantum, and some of them are pretty advanced. Here is like 250 plus different organizations which are using the real quantum computers from IBM and do the research together. What is interesting, actually, the one highlighted on red, it's one Polish institution. That's the high capacity cluster in Poznań, where actually we help to create with the Polish government and IBM corporate and the quantum research, the quantum hub for Poland, where we've got a number of the activities running on that cluster, and we work also on making that access not only remote via internet to the Poughkeepsie machines, but also have something physical here. I would like to also mention one thing, because there is on that list one company who is located in Krakow. Do you have any idea who may be? Probably not, because the letters are too small, but there is one company called BATE. And somebody who probably know the person named Wojciech Burkot, and I believe Motorola, Google probably knows. Wojtek ran that company for the 8 years, and he's pretty advanced in collaboration with IBM Research on the creation of the quantum algorithms. So pretty strong position of Polish presence on that list as well, which is good, and this is, I would say, optimistic going forward. But as you can see also, you see the number of the very known universities which are very heavily involved, as well as the companies. In fact, the success of Germany related to the quantum physical presence was thanks to their government and the big companies like Mercedes, BMW, Bosch, and a couple of others who actually decided that this is their future, and they invested in bringing that physically for exclusivity to use for them. Anyway, we still count on having that in Poland in the near future and be very present. And why? Please wait a while. So now question, when this result could be actually useful for us? Because we talk about quantum, we talk about some algorithms, we see the physical machines, but probably nobody has touched or saw any results related to what quantum has produced. So now, couple of theories. It's just a quick view on the chart, how the power computation of quantum relates to some known systems like IBM PC. And probably you see this triangle which tells external Eagle user. Eagle is the name of one of the processors, quantum processors, is on the level right now of IBM PC from 1881. It does not look promising, right? From the capabilities to use it. Actually, the border, when it starts to be going way beyond capabilities of the current systems, is the utility scale line, or actually rectangle on the slide, where it is marked as a 100 qubits, but 100 qubits errorless. So with the estimation of the progression of the technology, as you can see from 2016, around 2016, up to now and going forward with the curve, we probably expect to be at the utility scale in 2036. Does not look good, right? Far, far away. But this year we actually work in IBM Research and some other institutions and universities, and we discovered one method how to remove the biggest problem we have right now with the quantum and accelerating these capabilities, which is related to the error correction. Quantum computers, as you probably recall from my beginning, is like a state of qubit 1, 2, 0, and both states at the same time in given measured time. And the repetition of the same results depends highly on the probability who actually is created by the errors which are produced by those systems, because not ideal technological production. And bigger the number is, worse calculations are. And that's why this curve looks like that up to 2036, because all the fight is not about the number of the qubits we can produce, but how we can ensure that the error corrections of the tangled qubits in the systems is minimal and could be used as a real value and not only like 70% prediction. Because in many situations, even 99% prediction is too less to treat it seriously. So it have to be like a 100. And what we did actually with research and some institutions, we discovered the way how we can actually introduce the specific algorithms to the processors which are error mitigation. So we can actually predict with nearly 100% without the fraction of billionth part of the zero, of the one behind the zero, which gives us the capability to say actually and see the results with that mitigation error algorithm equal 0, means always true value. What does it mean for us? It means that some other papers were created, and using all that papers, we were able to have that processor I told you 133 qubits, which is 10 times less powerful in qubits capacity than the one I said is the newest one. And with this one, actually that curve looks differently, because with that algorithm, today, we can provide the calculations which are on the level of utility scale, which means these computers could be used truly for the real calculation and resolving the problems. This map actually shows which types of the problems I mentioned below could be resolved and much accelerated if it comes to the power of those machines. So you can see even now with the scale of circuit width in qubits, 2 to power of 2 means 100, we are already in some of the area where we can actually use the spin models for some simulations and behaviors, and also some chemistry and materials calculations, which is very promising because it is already today. And the other areas are question of the probably couple of years. I will not focus on the roadmap because that's a roadmap for our processors, and as you can see, pretty powerful Flamingo model comes in 2028, which would be actually the one who would probably be capable to operate in the areas I mentioned earlier. But now, what does it mean, just to give you the overview? This is the scale which shows how the computation time depends on the problem size. So as you can see, light blue line, classical one, usually the complexity runs and goes exponentially. So at the moment, I believe some calculations are so time consuming that they are not possible to use, because we may wait 20 years for the result. Pretty not interesting, right? If it comes to the error correction, the black line, the one with this bigger number of the qubits but with the errors, it's linear, but it's still, I would say, pretty low steep. But with error mitigation, actually that accelerates. And if you remember the previous chart, we are right now here where we've got the capable classical computing equal to the error mitigation computing, which means, again, we are able to solve and use it for resolving real problems. But within the couple of years, 2025, will be way beyond where already classical computers are not usable. 2029, it's actually probably one of the breaking points where we have the error mitigation and the error corrections coming together, which give us another 10 billion times acceleration in the computation, and that would be the year where we will touch every other aspect. And to 2023, that's the date which we predict probably having the capability of the quantum computing. Most of the illnesses, including cancer, could be resolved by the quantum, because one of the biggest hope for quantum computing is actually stop and shorten that period of how we can build, invent, and test any chemical associations, means drugs, and stop like waiting for 10 years for the clinical test, level 1, level 2, to have the drugs be capable to be used in the hospitals. Within the quantum computers, the main, I would underline one thing, that this period of 6 to 10 years for the clinical research and allowing the drug to be given to the people in the hospitals will shorten it probably to 9 to 11 months. That's huge. That's enormous, because it will allow companies to discover the drugs like that, not only for cancer, which is kind of is on top of our head because that's terrible illness, but for any other illnesses. It will open the space for us to construct and discover new materials which are more strong, which allow us to give the next step, build the spaceships which are more powerful, etc., and many other things. So this is what the quantum is actually opening for humanity. Quickly, because you may be interested how to learn and how to get the knowledge about the quantum. We've got the special free and available for everyone page, quantumibm.com. You can see and look for some more detailed information. We've got also quantum learning, so everybody who is keen to learn can access that also for free and use the open source Qiskit tooling, which allows to program quantum computing and send the packages directly to quantum computers in Poughkeepsie and see the results. A little bit play with the different quantum algorithms because they are pretty interesting. It also allows to change the way how we think, because we need to do some, I would say, kind of the shift in our mind to understand the quantum. But it's pretty easy to use, because you can use like a graphical interface, putting some gates, logical gates, quantum gates into the lines and into algorithm, or use the Python if somebody is a developer. I will talk about the Qiskit one thing, very interesting. I always point it out, but I do not put it on the slide. 6 years ago, I've got a dream that we prepare our people in Poland to understand quantum, and we made many of them interested in the technology. So me and my team in Krakow, we created the program for secondary schools to start learning how to program quantum computing. And we did it successfully for the guys who are more knowledgeable than me in that space. They told me, you are crazy, that's mission impossible, because these guys do not have enough maths and the physics knowledge to actually start understanding that, not mention using that and creating the algorithms. Well, they were fault. I was not knowledgeable enough to agree with them and stop the project. I was like still interested in doing that, and they did it. And what's interesting in that we created official profession in Poland, which is approved by Ministry of Education and Ministry of the Digital Affairs. It's equivalent to the technician. So everybody who passed the certification has the profession name technical programmer of the quantum computers. It's officially in ZSK, which is Zintegrowany System Kwalifikacji, which is right now common across the Europe. So everybody who has that title for the European Union. Means the first people who are finishing that certification and are certified are professionals. They've got the profession of the quantum computers programmer. And by the way, we run that in one of the high schools in Krakow. And this year, this is fourth years of education, and the first class in this, who started that, just before the mature exam in January, this January, will have that certification. It's pierwsze liceum ogólnokształcące, Nowodworek. And these guys, being in lycée, in high school, they will finish that school with the mature exam, but also with the profession. Moreover, this is the only high school in the world who has that ability, and don't tell me what I did in the corporation to get the approval for making that happen. And that's real, and these guys are really knowledgeable. They are very impressed what they can achieve. They are very impressed what the capabilities it opens. I'm not telling that 30 people who are in this class are interested in becoming the quantum engineers, but at least I would say that 15% of them, means about 5 persons, probably will select that for their future, which in my opinion is a great success because I count on 2%, on one person. And we run that for the second class right now. And we will probably continue because that's important. Why we should just be followers in Poland and do not have somebody who may work during the studies, university, and later on to drive real business with the quantum algorithmics in Poland, in the either BATE company in Krakow or in official Poland quantum computing cluster in Poznań. Why not? Maybe we can be leading that towards the future, and that's actually my dream. We'll see. But sometimes dreams come true. Now, I'm talkative, but guys, I believe we are the last session. I've got the privilege to do it as long as you survive. Anyway, a couple of the business-related opinions about the quantum and how this actually reports. And Steve has the same long story as I am. Believe me. Believe me.
I'm going to keep mine short. Don't worry about it. I'll keep it short. Yeah.
Here, kind of the bold statement from the couple of the companies. I choose not by, I would say, not randomly, but specifically. Amazon, I choose Google, also IBM, to actually underline that every of those companies, every of the strategists in these companies actually think that using the quantum probably will arrive in the next 3-4 years in real. Means they are working heavily. And I'm not telling we are the only one as IBM to work on quantum, because Google, Amazon, Microsoft, they've got quantum as well. There are few other companies who are doing that, but I need to say and underline, I think they are using different methodology how to simulate quantum, or not simulate, but I forgot the word. But do something which pretends quantum, but IBM
It's quantum inspired. So it's
quantum inspired, yeah.
Quantum inspired.
But also kind of the quantum emulator. That was the missing word,
yeah.
emulators. But the IBM is the only one who does it physically. So we have the technology which is able to produce the processors, which are really quantum physical. What is missing, and why I'm telling about the education, because this is the expectations coming from one of the analysts that 23% of the technology workforce in the world is expected to be familiar with quantum in the next 3 years. That's huge. That's a huge statement. And it's very important. And if we look actually for some of the obstacles related how to get the quantum knowledge, the biggest one is not having those skills, but difficulty to actually get the trainings, get the knowledge, and the ability to actually use it and learn it, test it. So this is something which we in the world and the companies who are driving that, like IBM, are actually keen doing that, and that's why we offer all the education, all the information, all the access, the toolkit for programming quantum for free as open source. So again, open source from the company who is heavily focused on the money, right? That means something. That's the bold statement, actually. For every 3 current quantum technology job opening today, because they are opened already, in the United States has only 1 qualified candidate. And by 2025, McKinsey tells that more of the half of the country quantum jobs will be unfilled. 2 years and a half of the open jobs cannot be filled by the specialists. So it's a chance for people, chance for those who would like to focus on quantum and became the specialist and the subject matter expert in that area. In 13 years, actually probably everybody will be using quantum either openly or under the hood. And thanks to that, I would say, approach to sharing the knowledge, building the partnerships, and making the relations, I would like to gently pass to Steve.
Thank you.
Who actually gave me something I'm really, really jealous for, because on that picture on the right, you can see him in the center, and just on the right side of him is my CEO, Arvind Krishna. So I wish I have such a photo as well.
Well,
maybe one
we'll
day,
make that happen.
But maybe one day.
We'll
and
make
that's
that
great, actually, that Steve is actually running the company who would be listed on that list I presented shortly. Or it's my mistake because I've got the old one, but he's also one who is teaching the quantum and have a very strong partnership. And one more important message from that slide. You see IBM, but you see also HSBC. Because HSBC is one of the leading companies who are heavily investing in quantum and work with us in the partnership in IBM to actually make that quantum possible to use. So,
excellent.
I stop here. Over
Thank
to
you
you
very
Steve.
much. Thank you. All right, now we're going to do an exam based on everything he said. So can you get out your papers? I want you to know the numbers and figure that out. Hi, everybody. Good afternoon, Krakow. Hey, all right. Good afternoon. The good thing is, I think I have 12 minutes. So in 12 minutes, you're going to be going. So I'm going to go really quickly and go through my presentation. So Steve Suarez, I'm actually a recovering banker. I used to be with HSBC for 20 years. And a funny story is when I came, I used to be in charge of Europe, and I came here to Krakow, and we had 12 people here in Krakow. And I had Krakow and Ostrava, so I was responsible for both. And my boss said, you need to close them both down because we're not getting enough work into it. And I remember pushing back very hard, saying, not Krakow, Ostrava, yes. We ended up closing down Ostrava. But from 12 people, you could see the amazing growth. And for me, I think that's very exciting, coming back and seeing how big HSBC and the team here, and I know we have a lot of people here in the audience from HSBC. One thing I did want to come back, and this is why I wanted to have this message, is that I see the talent in this room. I see the talent here in Krakow. You guys are in a special space with so many universities but I think the work that you can look at should be higher level work. That's why the stat from McKinsey, actually, I worked with them to kind of come up with that stat. So for every 3 open positions, there's only 1 qualified candidate, which means there's an opportunity, right, for your talent, people looking for people. But that means that you can start learning this, educating yourself, and start getting into something that is going to be, it is today, very highly paid and very sought after. And these are the leading edge type of technologies. A little bit about myself. I left HSBC about 1 year and 2 months ago. I'm an advisor to Bain & Company, I also am the advisor to Mitsubishi Corporation globally on emerging technologies, and I used to be the global head of innovation for global functions at HSBC. I was there for 20 years. I also teach, so I teach at Oxford University, so I'm teaching the FinTech program there at Oxford University, and I teach quantum strategy at MIT. I'm really excited. We're launching a new course here in January. So the good news is, when I went to school, and I went to MIT to learn about quantum, as soon as you get into that course, it's all math. And you get into the math. And the reality is, as an executive, as somebody who sits on boards, I don't need to know the math. I don't need to know how the technology works. And I'm telling you, don't be afraid. You don't need to know how the technology works, right? I'm sure a lot of you guys have your iPhone. Nobody can describe how the chips are all set up and working, but you know how to use the iPhone to get things done. Same thing with this technology. This technology, understanding it and seeing how you can apply it, will be big. And I think for Krakow, as you dive in and start educating yourself, I think it's a big opportunity. So I'd love to say I come back in 12 years and all of a sudden this is the quantum headquarters for Europe or even the world. But this is, and I agree with Sławek, this is the time to get involved with quantum. One of my companies, actually, Quera, if you don't know Quera, look them up. We sell quantum computers. We sold one to Japan for $41 million just a couple months ago. And last week, which I'm really excited about, Google made a very big investment into our company. I signed an NDA, so I can't tell you how much, but it was good. It was a good. So what I'm trying to tell you here is that there's a lot of industries and a lot of people putting a lot of money behind quantum computing. Obviously, all the stuff that you see going on in IBM. With my consulting company, I'm a silver partner, and I'm working very closely with IBM on their quantum. But there are different versions of quantum, and I'm actually a little bit agnostic, working in a different version. So it would be good to educate yourselves to understand there's not just one way to get into quantum. What I find really interesting about the IBM one is that their refrigerators, it's probably the most expensive refrigerator in the world, those refrigerators are 3 times colder than space. They actually cool that environment of some of the coldest places in the universe, which is actually amazing. And it's all to keep a little chip at the bottom, if you look at these chandeliers, to keep that chip cool. It's very impressive, the advances. Does anybody know who this man, well, I know you know who this guy is. Does anybody know who this guy is? Somebody in this room has got to know. I know you guys, there's a lot of analytic people here. Raise your hand. Does anybody, who wants to take a guess? David Letterman, close, yeah, it could be. Who? Professor, okay. You're halfway there.
My answer counts or not?
No, your answer, yeah, well, you know who this is, but so go ahead, tell them who this is.
So the person on the picture, of course, a part of Steve, is author of one of the basic algorithms used by quantum. Probably those who knows quantum, everybody knows the Shor algorithm.
So this is Professor Peter Shor. Actually, and Peter Shor teaches in my course and talks about Shor's algorithm. Just to understand what Shor's algorithm is, it's the algorithm that breaks all encryption that exists in the world today with a strong enough quantum computer. So you heard the progress that IBM's making. The faster they make progress, the faster all your encryption is at risk. And that's one of the things that people need to understand. The US just put out an executive order saying that every company has to be PQC compliant, post-quantum cryptography compliant, by 2032. They're starting to move that up. So now the government is requiring you to actually defend against quantum, and that's the first regulation that's out there. I suspect there's going to be a lot more regulation, and there's going to be a lot. And that means every system, every computer, every device will have to go through that upgrade. So you can imagine the amount of people we'll need, the amount of work that's going to create. If you can get ahead of that and be part of that, that can be a really big advantage to you. So yeah, Peter Shor's algorithm, read about him. Fantastic guy. Actually, you know, you saw that picture on his board. My wife took that picture of us. And my wife said, Peter, the stuff you have in the background, is that something that we can share with people? And he goes, yes, there's probably only about 3 people in the world that understand it, so go ahead and share it. So he was pretty much telling me, you're too stupid. Yes, go ahead and go ahead and so. But he's an amazing guy, and yeah, he's at MIT. Okay, I'm going to do one last exercise. Okay, and then we're going to open it up for questions because I'm really a big believer that the value out of this stage will come from your questions. No questions are silly or stupid. I want you guys to ask whatever you questions in reference to quantum. The harder they are, he'll take them. The easy ones, I'll go ahead and answer. I'll go ahead. Is that all right? I didn't tell you. I didn't tell you. Is that good? All right. The math ones. He's going to do the algorithms. I'll do the simple yes or no questions. All right. Right now, I'd like everybody to take out their phones. Everybody, take your phone out. And I'd like you to unlock your phone. You ready? For 2 minutes, I want you to pass your phone to the person next to you, and you can look through their pictures, you can look through their stuff. What? What's going on? Why? What? Why? What's going on? Why aren't you guys passing your phones? Oh, no, I got somebody passing there. Okay, go ahead, 2 minutes, look through there. All right. Do me a favor, Andy, can you walk around? Can somebody tell me how they felt for a microsecond? How did that make you feel? Anybody? All right, a raise of hands. A raise of hands. Who got a little nervous? Be honest. Did anybody? That made you feel kind of weird, right? To think that somebody could look at your stuff and just go through your stuff. You know, what do I have on my WhatsApps? What do I have in my pictures and stuff like that? The reason I want you to remember that feeling is because quantum computing, strong enough, will break all the encryption that you have on that phone, on your PCs and everything. So part of the stuff I consult with businesses is how do you protect yourself from that technology that's coming? And I can tell you, a lot of people are already behind. If you read an article, the Chinese actually just put an article 2 weeks ago. You can read all of this. This is nothing I'm telling you is magic, or they just wrote an article saying that they've actually built a computer that can start breaking the lower level encryption. All right? Now, is that important? No, because most of your encryption is at a higher level. It's this 2048. But there are companies, and I can tell you in your organizations, there is some encryption that actually is vulnerable to that today. And so, because I sit on boards, I can tell you boards are worried about cybersecurity, sustainability, AI, quantum. Take advantage that the boards are interested on that, educate yourself in these areas, and actually start working at that level so you can have a seat at the table at that executive level. I got 1 minute left. Should we just ask some questions? Yeah.
One minute. I would like to just add something because it's important. So first of all, let me do some selling. IBM has solutions for post-quantum encryption. So we've got post-quantum algorithms. If you are interested, reach out to me or to IBM, and we can introduce the post-quantum encryption capabilities into your system, first. Second, important because it's about ESG, which is also a very important topic, which is discussed here. Quantum computer takes 3 to 4 times less power than the standard computer. Interesting, right? Such a big refrigerator, and this is 8 to power of 10 class, not AAA like we have at home, right? So it takes 3-4 times less power than the classical computers. Depends, it's a statistic. Philip, I see your face, but that's fact. And the third one, I just wanted you to remember one thing. If you've got children who are interested in technology, remember about quantum, because maybe this is something your children could start with.
Yep.
For a better humanity future.
No, I agree. And I think that's why the course, he gave his plug for IBM. I'll give a couple plugs. The course we're actually launching, or we've launched at MIT, is for corporate executives. It's business level course. We don't get into the maths and stuff like that. So I think it's a great opportunity. Going back to PQC, the US put that executive order. The MAS is also doing the same thing. I'm actually there for the FinTech Festival in 2 weeks, talking exactly about this. So we're going to be on the main stage talking about PQC in 2 weeks. You tell them. They did. Yeah, so the regulation is coming. For people like me that are doing this, and I have the ability to support, there's going to be a lot of work, and there's going to be a lot of need, and there's going to be a lot of demand for resources to do this. So working closely with one of my companies, Q-Secure, but I'm also, we're jointly doing some work with IBM. IBM actually has the leading discovery package. We've got the crypto agility, but because of time, I'm not going to go into that. But I am more than happy to talk to you guys about it, to talk further and get into that. And actually, it was a pleasure. And thank you for inviting me to come back to Krakow. It's amazing just seeing the development of the city, the impact of the people. And I'm hoping that next time I come, like I said, I want to hear about all the good technical stuff you guys are working on.
Do you want to hear one use case about how the quantum improve the current business? Very short one. Banking. We have the partnership with one of the banks where we use the quantum to actually look at the patterns in the fraud detection. And using current quantum, we are able to reduce, to actually increase the patterns related to the fraud detection by 1%. But 1% in the 100 billions of transfer of dollars means $1 billion saving. That's actually the scale with the current existing today's capabilities. What would be later, that's unknown. And I'm telling them about this fraud detection because actually quantum discovered frauds and the patterns which would not be possible to be discovered using the classical methods. These frauds were detected in completely different space. So that's kind of the real example which works today.
And I know the team that developed that, which you can just look at the background and see what bank I used to work at. So yes. Okay, good.
Questions or are we done?
Talk about scale, just quickly, yeah? Because when you're talking about fraud in banks, I think the use case you're talking about, the French and the German central banks agreed this year to send euros between each other. Now that is an area that the quantum computers will want to break because there's a lot of money. Yeah. It won't hit your accounts.
Yeah.
But I think it's just important to talk about scale, sorry.
The $1 billion is one company, one country. So this is a POC done to prove that it can work. Once you apply that, just think about the entire economy. So there's plenty of opportunity there just from a fraud perspective.
But you're not going to spend $40 million on a computer to break someone's phone, are you?
No, I mean, those are low target.
Not yet.
No. I mean, but as the computers get cheaper, guess what? And nobody's going to go after your phone. They're going to go after your transactions, all your data and stuff like that. Let's ask some questions, see if there's any questions. If not, we'll let everybody go for drinks.
Sorry. It's Kasia from ABVI. I was wondering, because Sławek, you were showing us, and it seems like the quantum computers are something now that how, 40, 50 years ago, it used to be about normal computers. Like there is only a couple in the world, only some people have access to it. Do you think that in the near future, it will happen like it happened with normal computers, that almost everyone would have it at our home? Is there even a need for something like this?
No. This is a completely different paradigm of using that. That would be the number of the computers around the world, because they are not cheap. Let's be frank, they are not cheap. And you can just plug in the keyboard or mouse to that. As I said, it actually uses the batch which absorbs as the input and produce the result. So there will be like like they will be used like you use right now in automation the jobs. You create the jobs which actually made the factoring, right, or scanning something. You put the job and you get the results. But one clarification: there are several computers, probably around 100 available today, but everyone has access to that computers for free via internet. When you use the IBM framework, you connect and you produce the algorithm in Qiskit. It connects physically to the machine in states. Of course, probably if there are a number of the users, you need to wait in the queue for processing your algorithm, but you process your algorithm and you've got access to the physical machine in states.
Very, very little companies will buy their own. Countries do, so we sold it to Japan. Actually, I'm doing a ribbon cutting tomorrow in Oxford, so the UK has one. We're building the one out there. But you're going to do it just like cloud-based. So instead of sending your AWS thing to whatever, you're just going to say, go to this. And it's only going to be for specific. He talked about simulation optimization and QML or quantum machine learning. It's going to be small little use cases. So your classical computers are going to be working with quantum computers. You let the quantum do what they do best, and the classical do what they do best. The majority of the work you'll still be doing is on classical computers, but it'll all be cloud-based. And you can do that with the IBM.
And by the way, if it comes to the number of the activities and the interactions with the quantum computers, we counted that last year, 2023, it was about 1,500,000 algorithms created by people using the quantum computers. So 1,500,000 different algorithms and the different code sent to those machines.
To create algorithms in quantum are very different than creating your classical algorithm. It's a new way of developing. So that's why it's important to start learning.
So again, how do a question? So it's Amazon, IBM, Google producing these machines. What about China and India? How are they positioned?
That's a good question. China shows and publish only what they want to show. So we know they've got artificial intelligence, pretty clever, because we hear that on the kind of the social aspect, how the society in China is actually measured, steered, or whatever else via artificial intelligence. What they are real capabilities in artificial intelligence, we have no idea. Quantum is a deep, 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 deep secret.
Yeah,
we have absolutely no idea.
The countries are not going to share. So there is an east-west thing. I'm not allowed to teach or even sell any of our computers to specific countries, and they're not allowed. So Alibaba is doing one, and they have one. And so there's, but like you said, we're not allowed to see it. And I'm not allowed because of export controls. We got them both here in Europe and in the US. I cannot sell a quantum computer to certain countries.
But they've got their own, and we do not know what they have.
Yeah, my question was a little bit in this respect. And first of all, thank you, Sławek. You convinced me on investing in IBM shares or a fund related to quantum.
70% up from beginning of the year.
But maybe a question for Steve. So what kind of governance, because there's definitely a lot of opportunity in terms of this kind of research and innovation, but in terms of any of the threats, I see that could be also a misuse in terms of the military service or some other areas. Do you know what kind of governance exists at the moment?
Well, I mean, we're putting that in, and actually we're learning around the AI governance, because it's pretty much the same thing as kind of putting in the right governance. I think my biggest fear is that because they're limited machines and they're limited to some nation states, that there's going to be some nation states that have such an incredible advantage over others that it's going to be hard to compete. This is not a technology you want to be in second place. And that's why I'm really pushing people to educate themselves, get access to machines like the IBM ones, the Queras, and you can start getting... The difference between quantum and AI is that everybody in this room has access to AI today. You're not going to have access to quantum because, again, we said only 1 in 3 qualified people are out there. The hardware is not accessible unless you already have some relationships. Developing the algorithms are not the way you develop. You got to learn a whole new way of developing algorithms. There's a lot of work that needs to happen to really make this go mainstream. And that's why I'm really challenging you guys. Go out there and start educating yourself on this. Does that answer your question, Tomas?
That's one more thing about this advantage. I would like to highlight one decision IBM has made with relation to quantum. And it's global decision, and it's follow it. Somebody may not trust and not believe, but IBM actually refused to work on quantum with the military companies. So military companies has no access to IBM quantum technology. Point. That's the corporate decision. Interesting.
I will cheat. I have two, but one is very short. My main question is, here. My main question is, if it's on call-based, who is owner of the data and who has access to the data? So if somebody would like to use your quantum computer, would you be able to see this data and use this data?
No, because you need to create the account in IBM, which is your account, and whatever is associated with your account, doesn't matter if it's quantum or any other technology, you may access to IBM. It's your technology, it's your data.
And your
we do not look at that.
You're PQC compliant. In other words, other quantum computers can't crack that, so you're doubly protected.
Thanks. And the second question is about young people. So any plans to do it in the cloud so people from other cities could, my son interested in it?
Well, we've got the materials. First of all, I will recommend to look at the ZSK pages because they've got exactly the content of the curricula. They've got what is necessary for, like for any other profession. So there is pretty heavy documentation there. We published a lot of these materials already available on the free of charge IBM Technology Learning Center, which is called skillsbuild.org. Remember that, skillsbuild.org. That's the free of charge access to the training materials for people given by IBM. There is a section for children in the high schools, there is a section for students at the universities, different level of the technology details and the courses, and there is a second part for the teachers, to prepare teachers to teach that technology, with the examples, with all the materials, with documentation. If you register as a teacher, you've got also the access to the whole platform, and you can leverage additional capabilities. It's also free of charge. Teaching and sharing the knowledge is one of our core values. So we do a lot of that stuff for free. And many of those materials are also in Polish, important.
Are there any traditional programming languages that we use today that can be used in quantum computers? Or does quantum computers have their own programming languages? And is there one that's most relevant, or there are many with their own advantages or disadvantages?
I know there's a lot of Python users here, and so as they get more abstracted, there's going to be the ability to do that. But the reality is, like creating these circuits, you can use Qiskit, and they have a system that just creates the circuits for you. You can run the code there and copy and paste that code. So the good thing is get your hands on it, try it out, and learn it. I think it's more mysterious when we're talking about it, but when you get your hands on it, I feel like I'm technical. I wrote a couple of algorithms myself. I don't have to. There's other people that can write them better. So Python, and use Qiskit, and they'll help you run it. There's other programs in there. I know one of my other companies, Classique, is an orchestrator. IBM invested in them, and so did HSBC, by the way. And they do the same thing. And there's a couple companies that do that, StrangeWorks, Classique, IBM.
But I believe that Python would be the main interface. And probably we do not need to go deeper, because when you look at the classical computers, you can, but you probably do not program purely in assembler, right? Because there are different variations of the processors, different substantial differences. So you do not code in assembler, in a code, machine code. You use some of the high-level languages to actually interface what would be executed. So Python is number one. And to be honest, I do not see it is going to be replaced by anything else. Python is popular enough and is good enough actually to model all what we need to have like a quantum algorithm done.
So just if Andrew Hallam lets us, we can post an article onto the Aspire Poland page today giving you more information about a chap called Zygmunt Wojcinski who works with Sławek here, telling you the whole story.
If people are interested, he promised to bring the cake here. Not I don't know. Is he changed mind? Bring the cake here.
Let's have a huge round of applause for the gentleman on the stage. Thank you so much.